Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Dianne de Wet. I'm the president of the South African Institute of Valuers and part of the KZN Branch X. I would like to welcome everybody in this webinar in celebration of Women in Valuation during National Women's Month. I'm so excited to facilitate this discussion with a wonderful woman on our panel who will be offering insights and expert advice, highlighting opportunities, challenges, and advice for upcoming valuers. I would like to introduce you now to our panelists. Motlatso Maloka is our acting valuer general in the office of the OVG. She completed her real estate qualification in 2004 and is a registered professional valuer since 2012. She's worked in both the public and private sector and has sat on several valuation appeal boards and as an assessor for the SAIV Disciplinary Committee until 2017. She's also busy completing her MBA, which we would also like to celebrate with her. Next up, we have Ali Sue. Ali Sue is a professional associated valuer in private practice and the managing member of Sterling Valuation Specialist. Ali Sue joined the Department of Transport and Public Works following her studies, after which she joined the valuation department at Old Mutual. During this time, she completed valuations of the Old Mutual portfolio, as well as valuing for private clients, external clients. She left Old Mutual in 2013 to live in Kuwait, and upon returning, and after a short stint at JHI, she rejoined the Old Mutual team until its closure in February 2017. This push led her, together with a few colleagues, to start Sterling Valuation Specialists. Next up is Joy Boraine. Joy is a seasoned professional valuer with 20 years of experience in the industry. She holds a national diploma in real estate, focusing on valuations, and has expertise in a broad spectrum of property valuation types. For the past 8 years, she's served as a senior valuer at the local authority level, where she's been involved in completing 2 GVs. She currently is with Plaatje Municipality. She is also a member of the central branch of the Institute of Valuers, and her commitment to the profession is evident through her active involvement in these organizations. And then last but not least is Monique. Monique is a professional valuer with Roeder and Associates, which is now part of the Valuator group. She had the opportunity to return to university to study her first love, property, at the age of 36, and with 3 small children, she completed her BTEC in quantity surveying at Cape Technikon. She's gained widespread experience in property valuations to qualify as a professional and obtained her MSc in property studies from UCT. So, without further ado, where are the ladies? Motlatso? Ali Sue? Have I introduced all of you? Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I know that we all travel different paths on this journey called life. And we all travel different journeys to this profession. So I would like to hear from each of the panelists just a small little snippet of how they started in their career and what inspired them to pursue this career in property valuation. So, Motlatso, if you'd like to kick off.
Thank you, Di, and thank you, SAIV, for this opportunity. My career started in 1995 when my father showed me an advert from COJ, City of Joburg, and encouraged me to apply. When I was accepted, I then joined them as a candidate valuer. I had no qualification or a subject in valuations. I only had ideas for books as I was working at the library as an intern. I became intentional about how I would grow in the profession. I aligned myself with reputable valuers who walked the journey. I observed what they knew and what made them outstanding. And I identified what I needed to learn. And then the rest is history. Here am I. Thank you.
Thanks, Motlatso. Monique, how has your journey been so far?
Yes, I'm probably the only one here that took quite winding roads to land with my passion right from the start. In property in high school, I wanted to be an architect. Then for some weird and wonderful reason, I went and studied law, which I absolutely hated. And then when I got divorced at 36, I thought this is now your last chance to get back into property. And I studied quantity surveying, and then luckily Erwin Rode offered me a job as a property valuer, so I had to restart again. And yes, but I've been very, very blessed that I was able to do the two passions of my life, property as well as lecturing part-time. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey for me.
That's so inspiring, Monique, because so often people think that when they get to middle age, they can't change careers.
No, definitely.
I think we're fortunate today that it is easier than it's ever been before.
Absolutely. It's never too late.
Absolutely, yeah. Ali Sue, how has your journey started and where has it taken you to get to where you are now?
Yeah, looking back, I don't think when I left school, I don't think I had any idea of what I wanted to do or become. But I needed to go to varsity because that's what was expected. My mom was a teacher, my dad was a draftsman. So I grew up on site holding a measuring tape for my dad, going to measure or playing around on his board and, and stealing his fancy pens that he had. And then when I finished school, I think most of my friends were going the business science route, and I knew I wanted to do something different. So I ended up doing architecture my first year. Okay. I got into architecture and did a year of that and realized it's a little bit too arty for me. I was arty, but I wasn't that arty. And then I moved over to property studies. And I think even when I moved over to property studies, I don't think I had a career in mind. I think at that time, most of the class were aspiring property developers. I think we had that in mind. But by the end of our studies, I think there was the banks were recruiting for valuers, and I think after doing it for so many years, every year you do a module, I think we had a good grounding in valuations, and that made the sense to kickstart your career in valuations. But I went in property management first because I had a bursary with the Department of Transport. And then I knew I wanted to go into valuation, so I attended an SAIV function, and yeah, I made contact with Trevor King.
Excellent.
And I went for an interview and then my job. Yeah.
Excellent. And Joy, how did you start?
Good afternoon, Di, and good afternoon, delegates. Thank you so much for the very colorful introduction. I am born and bred in Kimberley, Northern Cape, but my journey as a valuer started in Johannesburg, where I completed my national diploma in real estate with a focus on valuations. I was very fortunate to be in a corporate environment that specialized in valuations of commercial, industrial, agricultural, more complex and specialized valuations. So from my humble beginnings as an admin assistant in the real estate office, I worked my way up to candidate valuer under the mentorship of prominent industry individuals that helped shape and mold my career. There has been many obstacles, delays, anxiety-inducing moments in my career, and I do expect there to be many more in the many years to come. But my choice for career path still remains true to valuations and the passion that I have for the profession. Thank you so much, Di.
That's awesome, Joy. My story is a little bit different. I was a nursing sister for 20-something years, became an estate agent, and then got into property valuation that way. That's why, I endorse Monique's journey, because I think I was a similar age, going through a divorce, making a career change, and also doing my MBA when I was in my late 50s, I think. So, yeah, we should never, ever stop investing in ourselves as we go along. So, Ali-Sue, can you tell us what a typical day in your life as a property valuer is? You muted, sorry.
Okay, there we go. I think most of the day is spent in office at my desk, working through a to-do list of checklists of what information I've got and what I need to still get from clients. Yeah, so I don't necessarily do inspections every day because we focus on the listed sector. So we value portfolios, and that's quite kind of it's a batch at a time, and you work on a project at a time. And basically, we normally work for about 4 to 6 weeks on each project. So, yeah, most of the time is spent in office, reading through, getting the tenancy information, getting zoning, and unfortunately, lots of that can be done at your desk. You don't need to go into the municipal offices to get all of that kind of thing these days. Reading through title deeds. Yeah, and then it's also taken up with kind of business related stuff. So making sure that SARS is happy, payroll's done, all the client compliance stuff for businesses in order, quoting for clients, and that's what keeps me busy during the day. Yeah.
So not much running around with a tape measure anymore.
Not really, no. Yeah, so basically, yeah, I can probably, yeah, we work nationally, so I'd probably travel every second month for a week at a time. And yeah, so that's...
Okay. So there is a lot of variety still. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Monique, what do you think are the most significant changes in this industry over the past decade, in your experience?
Yes, I must say, I think for me, the fact that, as you just said, Ali-Sue said, that you don't need to go to the municipality and the deeds office physically anymore, that we literally, and especially for you that's younger in the audience, that you literally have no idea, something like a service provider like Lightstone, those kinds of information that is available at your fingertips, how much easier it made our lives as property valuers. I remember when I went to Johannesburg early in my career, my 10-year-old son would sit with a map book and the little post-it stickers, and he would map out my whole journey, you know, so that I would know where to go and so forth, and that we even survived driving in Johannesburg, looking at the map book and looking at the traffic. That alone was a miracle there. And also, it reminded me again, a couple of years ago, I went to Namibia. As far as I know, they still don't have a digital deeds office. So it is literally a total different kettle of fish to value properties in Namibia. So yes, you young people out there with your cell phone that can literally do everything, count your blessings there. It has made a huge difference to our profession, the way that we can access information these days.
Yep, a trip to the SG and Deeds office was an entire day.
Exactly.
To get one property's information.
Yeah.
Motlatso, what are the biggest challenges you face in your profession? Oh, no, sorry. That's Joy. What are the biggest challenges you face in your profession?
The profession, there are 4 that I've identified that are most challenging for me. It's the rapid technological changes and the fact that we constantly have to adapt to new tools, methods, and innovations. Staying current with these advancements requires ongoing training and investment, which can be quite pricey. So while technology can enhance efficiency and accurately, there is a challenge to ensure that the automated tools don't replace, the nuanced judgments of an experienced valuer. Balancing the leveraging of technology and maintaining the critical human element of valuations is crucial. My second challenge is data quality and availability of data. Access to data and consistent data is crucial for accurate valuations. However, the data can vary significantly, due to the source, depending on which source you use to source your data from. This can lead to challenges in your report writing. Another challenge is the vast amount of data available. Valuers should be skilled in filtering and analyzing these large data sets to extract relevant insights without getting lost in the noise. Technical expertise and the ability to discern which data points to use is crucial. The third challenge I face is regulatory and compliance pressure. The profession is subject to stringent regulations and standards, which are continually evolving. And keeping up with these changes and ensuring compliance can be challenging, especially if there's limited resources available. So maintaining high ethical standards is paramount, especially where the outcome of a valuation significantly impacts financial decisions. And valuers need to navigate conflicts of interests, client pressure, as well as the need for impartiality, all while adhering to these regulatory requirements. And then the last challenge I have is the skills gap and professional development. So the modern property valuer must possess a diverse skill set, including data analysis, technological proficiency, and a knowledge of sustainability practices. Ensuring these skills in a valuer requires significant investment in training, education, and time. It is thus my opinion, as a as a professional valuer, that it's my duty to pass down the knowledge that I have gained over these past few years to younger valuers that are just entering the profession. Yes, so these are the challenges that I face as a professional valuer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joy. I think we all agree that we have a duty to continually transfer the skills and knowledge that we've acquired to the younger valuers. Motlatso, how do you see the role of technology evolving in property valuation?
Oh, what can we do without technology, Di, in this time and age? Technology, whether machine learning, robotics, blockchain, 3D printing, etc., is the way of the world. Is the way of the world. This is the only constant in our lives. Change.
Change. Yep. You're so right.
Artificial intelligence allows machines to learn from data, making decisions and perform tasks that typically depend on human intelligence. But it is just mentioned now that by Joy that even if technology can make decisions for us, our human touch, the human touch is still important. So we cannot completely rely on it. We've got Internet of Things that connects every object to the internet, allowing us to send data, receive data, and all that. But I'd still say the human touch, our expertise are very crucial. Then there's blockchain, which allows transparency. When we go to our regulatory environment, it allows transparency, how we report. So blockchain technology is very, very key in doing that. Then the most important part is the advanced data analytics. That, because of the amount of data that we are using, it allows us to uncover patterns, trends, and insights. We can be able to tell a story much easier, faster, and in real time as compared to previously. So this is the only constant that we have, change. And technology has arrived. We have to learn to embrace it and move forward with it. Thank you, Dan.
Absolutely, or we will be replaced. I say that, but jokingly, because I think ultimately that opinion that we as valuers form based on all the data and all the information is still a crucial part of our profession. So, but yes, we do have to embrace it. Alisu, how do you think we have adapted to economic fluctuations and market changes? You with the listed companies, I think it impacts that sector of the market particularly. So what can you tell us about that?
Sorry, Di, not Alisu. She's just having some technical difficulties. So if you can just maybe move on. Yeah.
Okay, all right, we'll come back to her on that.
Sure.
Seeing as we are now in Women's Month, let's tackle gender and diversity. Monique, do you think that the industry is becoming more inclusive for women in your experience?
Yes, I must say I actually don't know the answer to that one, even though it is Women's Month. I was involved as a guest lecturer 5 years plus ago at UCT, so I just went back to my numbers there. And in the master's class, there was sort of a constant, anything between 25 to 40% of those master students were women. And it will be perhaps interesting to see in the chat, you know, those of you that's now still studying your final years and so on, to give us an indication, you know, if we have reached the 50%. I understood from CPUT that we are there, but I couldn't verify that. But yeah, so it will be interesting because, I mean, from a woman's perspective, I think valuations is just an excellent career. You know, honestly, I can't even think of one negative. So yeah, it will be wonderful to see that that women embrace this as a career choice, and especially with property, it's just so you know, versatile. You can literally, whatever your passion is, you can find a home somewhere in property.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so let's hope we are there already.
I think we are getting there. If I look at SAC PVP's stats, you know, with the young valuers coming through,
wonderful.
I think we will see a shift. The only problem is with this profession, because there's such a long career path. We don't have to retire at 60 or 70 or even 80. So the change will come through eventually as us oldies eventually decide to retire. But yeah, I think it is happening. Joy, what can you share any experiences where being a woman has been to your advantage in this profession?
Certainly, Di. While each one's experience is unique, many women have found that their perspectives and skills provides a distinct advantage in the profession. So we excel in building bonds, creating strong relationships, whether it's personal or professional, through our communication as well as our empathetic skills. Professionally, being able to understand and address the client's concerns effectively leads to better client satisfaction and long-term partnerships develop. Active listening. Yes, I know there are some some colleagues that won't agree with me that we do listen actively, albeit selectively. We listen actively. So we're very skilled in that area, and this enhances our negotiation skills. It addresses the needs and the preferences of the parties involved in the property transaction, and we ensure that there's a positive outcome for all parties involved. We pay very close, meticulous attention to details, and this is reflected in our approach to how we work. We are, because of this, paying attention to details, we are more accurate and reliable in our valuations, and we maintain our professional integrity. Our keen eye for detail helps us identify potential risks and discrepancies in property assessments, which contributes to a more comprehensive risk management for the client. Women in the industry often build diverse networks of professions from various backgrounds, leading to collaborative opportunities and a broader understanding of different market segments. As women advance in our careers, we become role models and we become mentors to others that enter the field, inspiring and supporting the next generation of women and male professionals. We possess very strong leadership qualities, and this fosters supportive and collaborative work environment. Our leadership style enhances team cohesion and it drives successful outcomes. We bring strategic thinking and long-term visions to organization, contributing in organizational growth. And then navigating through traditional male-dominated field can build resilience, or at least it does build resilience and personal growth as a woman. Women who have successfully overcome these challenges develop valuable skills and strengths that enhance their professional capabilities. So these advantages just highlight how being a woman in the property valuer profession can bring unique strengths and perspectives that contribute to success and innovation in our field of professional valuers. Thank you, Dai.
Thank you, Joy. Yeah, I have to agree with you. We do bring another element to the profession. Motlatso, have you faced any gender-specific challenges in your career? And if so, how did you manage to overcome them?
Okay, the valuation profession is dominated by males. And one of the challenges is when expressing an idea in the boardroom.
Yep.
It is sometimes not heard when it's expressed by a woman. But if a male colleague expresses the very same idea, it is embraced.
Yep.
I had to introspect and investigate to say, why is that happening? Why is this behavior? And it's been a couple of times that I've observed. When women speak, confidence, it's not that evident when they speak. And that can be interpreted as lack of confidence. And not being sure about the point that you're making also maybe contributes to not being well heard. But to overcome all that, we must master our profession. Valuation must be our second nature, just like cooking or bringing up a child.
Yep.
And to talk about issues, we must express and show confidence in what we are talking about. So that's what I've observed. Same point. You bring it, it's your idea, you bring it to the table. But when the male brings the very same idea, it's embraced. Oh, what a world. Thank you.
That's reality, yes.
We've all been there. Thank you. Yeah. Monique, seeing as you've been in the lecturing space, what key skills do you think are essential for success in property valuation?
Yeah, Di, I think the passion begins even with choosing, that career path, or, the subject that you are studying. And I honestly think it makes a huge difference if you are passionate about what you are doing. As they say, you will do it even if you don't get paid, that kind of thing. It just makes life so much easier. It just makes it easier to keep abreast of the latest technology and trends. And it just makes you a happier person, yourself. As I said, I was very fortunate that I could be a part-time lecturer at CPUT for decades. And even valuations was recognized as a scarce skill by the Department of Education. And I hope my colleagues don't know this or know this, but I was paid more, because I was a qualified valuer. For those of you that is interested in going, into the lecturing field, it is very well looked upon, in the education industry. Yeah. Then also just, I don't know if it's necessarily a skill, and Joy also touched on that, but in terms of ethics, it is really very, very important to stay true to yourself. You know, we all know that there is a range of values that will be applicable to a specific property, but we also know that there is a value which isn't a value anymore, and you will know it in your heart. So yes, I think just in terms of sort of long-term advice is that you stay true to yourself and handle that difficult client, and you know, stay on the right side of those valuations. I think, but between passion and that ethical background, you should do very well in valuations.
Yeah, I agree with you. Joy, what resources, books, courses, mentors have been particularly beneficial for you on your career path?
I've identified 3 resources that I've relied on through my valuation career. The first is mentors and professional networks. So memberships to organizations such as the South African Institute of Valuers and the International Valuation Standards Council provides access to mentorship programs as well as industry networking. Engaging in mentorship programs offered by a professional organization, not only as a young valuer, but as a seasoned valuer, to ensure ongoing learning is critical. Attending industry conferences, seminars, workshops, networking events to connect with experienced professionals, you gain valuable advice as well as support throughout the profession. Online resources and platforms like LinkedIn, where you follow industry leaders, you join relevant groups, and you participate in discussions to stay updated on trends and connect with potential mentors that you would, in other circumstances, not be able to connect with. Regularly reading blogs as well as participating in forums related to property valuation and real estate to keep me informed about industry news and, you know, best practices. Participating in webinars and online workshops hosted by industry experts and professional organizations to help me gain insight to current trends and techniques and things that I would normally not know of had I not participated. And then there is practical experience. Engaging in projects and case studies that are property valuation related. This can provide valuable experience and deepen my understanding of valuation techniques and market dynamics. So yes, those are the 3 resources that I rely on throughout my career. I think the most important of those resources is networking and building strong professional relationships with professional valuers, but not only valuers, with professions in the built industry is crucial to my career. Thank you, Di.
Yeah, it's so important where you can pick up a phone and call a friend when you're in need of information or advice. So, yeah, I think networking is critical. Alisu, what short courses would you like to see available for valuers or more of in our profession?
I think ESG is a big thing that's coming into effect next year. So I think education around that, maybe partnering with GBCSA. So we upskill in that sense. But also advanced Excel. I think basic things like there's so much power in Excel, and I think I even go to my brother and I say to my brother, like, come sort this formula out for me. But because if you don't regularly use something, you don't know it, but you know, like once you've found something that works, you can rely on it, and it just helps with data analysis. And yeah, so I think there's definitely in something basic like advanced Excel that's beneficial to valuers. Like, it's not necessarily it's like, I don't know, it's more relaxed, but I think I always think of, like, when I look at reports of some of my colleagues and I'm like, oh, she's got a really good photo, she's got a good eye. And I think a photography course, I think, you know, like we get snap happy on our little cameras, but I know I've got some colleagues that have really, you know, they go on site with I don't know, like I know Magdalene back in the day used to go with a proper camera, and she used to take really good photos, and she still does. So I think that enhances your reports. And because we're all on the road, I think advanced driving skills, sometimes we hit the long road, and I think that, you know, besides just the core valuation kind of methodology and investment and finance and things that kind of benefit your knowledge, I think side things like that are also important to upskilling us. Yeah, otherwise, I do enjoy the seminars, the short courses, and the educational things that SAPOA and Shopping Centre Council put out there. Like, I value a lot of shopping centres, so obviously there's content from those industries that are, you know, of interest to me. So yeah, that's
excellent. Yeah, we need the soft skills and the non-core valuation skills, as well as the core knowledge. Yeah. So I agree with you. Motlatso, how do you stay updated with industry trends and developments?
Sure, I don't let go of Maine. They are my biggest sponsors. They would advocate for you in boardrooms that you are not in. So men are my greatest part of taking me by hand. But as already mentioned by Joy, Alu, and all that, attending webinars, it's very, very important, and seminars in our profession. And one of the most important things that we also have to do is to interact with professionals outside our own profession, because that allows networking and the ability to also identify commonalities that will lead to strategic collaboration going forward. So I also continue to self-reflect, identify the gaps, and keep learning. So that's how we always have to do that. And what I don't also mean is continually to interact with the Gen Z. This young generation are technologically advanced in a manner that is very powerful for our profession. So I always keep them next to me to always give me the tips to say, now what's happening, what's in, and how can I best use this to actually keep learning. Because with education, you keep learning. It's a never-ending. There's no arriving.
Yeah,
that you know it all. Every day is a different day, new challenges. So that's how I keep it. But most importantly, I've learned that collaborating with other professionals, they enhance our profession with so many different skills that actually contribute a lot in a bigger scheme in the valuation profession. Thank you, Dai.
I agree, Motlatso. We can never lose sight of the men that have played a part in our journey in this profession. I was privileged to have a very good mentor, and he taught me so much. So yes, we do have to recognize that they have played a role. Motlatso, as I said earlier, you're busy completing your MBA. what encouraged you to undertake this degree, and do you think valuers should be encouraged to study beyond just an undergraduate or diploma level?
Valuation, it consists of hard skills which are very technical in our environment. And I felt that I needed an understanding of the business administration environment and the governance part of it.
Yeah.
So the main reason I persuaded an MBA was to have a comprehensive understanding, and yes, of course, linking the valuation as a technical skill to the business environment. How each business unit is related to a success of an organization in totality. Most valuers run businesses.
Yeah.
And to run a successful one, you must administer. Your administration must be extremely successful.
Yeah.
And a successful business, it relates to a whole lot of issues. You've got your SCM issues, you've got your project management, you've got your finance, you've got your HR. Collectively, that allows one to be able to run a successful organization or a business. So I had to identify that. I identified the gaps, and then I realized that I needed to actually empower myself in that space. And I would like to say, yes, it's important for valuers to continue to learn, but how do you do that? You first have to appreciate where you are. Then from there, identify the gaps that will ensure that they move you from where you are to the next level that you want. And the only way to do that is to learn and continue to learn. And that will actually assist you in ensuring that you cover all the gaps that you've identified as you work. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Motlatso. Yes, it's very important that we look beyond just the pure valuation aspect of our profession and our work life. Talking about work life, we all as women have various different roles that we have to perform in our personal and our professional lives. We employees or bosses or employers, we mothers, we wives, we housekeepers. There are many roles that we have to try and juggle every day. How do you, Monique, balance your the work demands with your personal life?
Yeah, I must say that is something that I do struggle with. You know, I've got grown children, no grandchildren, and work is a passion. So I struggle with that, and I have learned to manage it in the sense of, as Alice Sue has now suggested, I'm definitely going to look into that photography course and keep myself busy with something like that. But yeah, it is in the end of the day so very important that we look after our mental health. And I mean, yes, I love property, but that is not supposed to be, you know, the be all and end all of everything. So yes, I've literally, I set my alarm to remember, you know, to eat, believe it or not, because I'll start working and then by 10, 11 o'clock, if I snap at somebody, then I realize I'm actually just hungry. So, you know, things like that. Yeah. So it's ridiculous, but yeah, slowly but surely I am getting there. But it's very, very important at the end of the day.
It is. as you say, taking care of yourself is critical. Joy, how do you prioritize self-care, and how can women generally prioritize self-care in their daily lives or their weekly lives?
I think self-care should be considered as important as breathing, because it's essential to our overall well-being, especially to us women that are juggling multiple roles and responsibilities all at one time. Prioritizing it is crucial, and maintaining physical, emotional, and mental health enables us to better handle life stresses and improve our quality of life, as well as sustain our energy levels to be able to perform on a personal and a professional level. Just highlighting a couple of important self-care routines or sections: physical health, regular exercise, balanced nutrition, adequate rest. These are all fundamentally important to maintaining energy levels, keeping healthy to reduce the risk of chronic diseases, and just improving your general physical health. Mental and emotional well-being should be structured so that you engage in activities that promote relaxation, such as meditation, hobbies that helps you manage stress, as well as reduces anxiety and promotes emotional balance. Taking time for self-care allows women to connect with a sense of identity, and it fosters self-esteem and empowerment. It reinforces the idea that their needs are important and we deserve attention, not just from others, but we deserve to give ourselves attention. Consistently putting others' needs ahead of our own leads to burnout, no matter how you look at it. Self-care is just a preventative measure to ensure that we can continue to care for others without compromising our own well-being. So how I prioritize self-care is I set boundaries. I learn to say no to commitments where I know I'm overextending myself. And it's important to set clear boundaries at work, with family and friends, so that it is key to make time for myself. Scheduling regular self-care, like an appointment, is a non-negotiable for me. Whether it's exercise or a hobby or quiet time, I block it out in my calendar, and it's as important as going to church or going to mosque. Practicing mindfulness is just as important. Incorporating mindful practices into my daily routine, such as meditation, deep breathing, setting time aside to pray, is very important to me, and it helps manage my stress as well as maintains my mental clarity. Looking for support. I lean on my support system, whether it is family or friends, even my professional support system. Prioritizing self-care often means that I have to ask for help, even if that also means I need to delegate tasks. And I engage in activities that I love. I make time for my hobbies, whether it be mindful exercises or creative outlets, anything that will bring me joy and fulfillment. Because these activities, they recharge my energy, and it keeps me connected to what matters most to me. I ensure that I get enough sleep. I try to maintain a reasonably flexible, balanced diet, although that is not always possible when you're on the road. So, you know, 1 or 2 days of having a Coke and a pie, it'll just have to slide. As long as I can engage in some type of physical activity. This is foundational to my overall well-being. So by making self-care a priority, we nurture our resilience, we sustain our ability to care for others, and this ultimately leads to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Thank you so much, Di.
Joy, you are so right there. You know, we have to block out these things in our calendars, or else work takes over. We'll always find something more urgent to deal with if we haven't set time aside. I try and pop out at lunchtime, go and have a spinning session, because that's how I deal with stress. And as you say, you've got to do that. Once a month, I go for a back massage, because sitting in front of a laptop also doesn't serve you very well. But yeah, Ali Sue, how do you manage to take care of yourself with all your different roles?
I think I have priorities. I don't live a balanced life, but I have priorities, and I think juggling work and family is my priorities at the moment. And yeah, so my kids keep me busy, and if I'm not working, it's running around after 2 kids, and you know, on the BMX track. So yeah, that's where my priorities are at the moment. But also, like, in terms of quiet time, I find cooking helps me. Chopping up the veg if I'm frustrated, it's like, or you know, arranging flowers. It's just, you know, it's quiet time. The kids are asleep, and it's time for me to be with my thoughts and just be peaceful. So, and it's then something beautiful I can look at all my arrangements in the house. So yeah, awesome. I wouldn't say I have a necessarily balanced life in that I fit in all the things, but I prioritize things that are important to me at this point. Yeah.
Ali Sue, I think when your kids are young, it becomes extremely difficult to achieve that balance. As they get older, I think you'll find you'll get there. So just carry on doing what you're doing. Motlatso, how do you, or what tips can you give to young valuers in managing all these different roles? You know, you're the valuer general, you're studying, and you're a mother. So what ideas can you impart in this regard?
Sure, Di. Family support is very important, extremely important. And as a family unit, we have to work as a team and ensuring that they understand exactly how your profession operates. But when we're on that, our roles are interrelated, especially when it comes to multitasking and managing our homes. The same principles that are applied at home are relevant at work. We ought to stop as women to underplay our roles at home, and we can actually use the formal work training that we have to enhance what we are already good at. All women are good at managing. So they have to look back at home to say, how did I manage to organize my home? You have a structure at home. That can be the same as your organizational structure. Different roles for every family member. That is key. And then you bring your formal training here at work. You can realize, that's why I say our roles are interrelated, but we need to embrace how we do that, and we mustn't downplay our roles at home, thinking that they cannot contribute to the work that we do on our day-to-day work environment. And I'm still a mother. I'm a leader at work. Yes, I'm an acting OVG, but my motherly instinct, they allow me to be able to do my work in a very easy and more acceptable way. So we mustn't downplay ourselves. So that's how I actually would advise the journalist to say, don't downplay your natural skills. They are actually key in our profession. Thank you, Dianne. Can you hear me?
On mute?
Sorry. I switch off my microphone to cough because I have a bad chest, so apologies. So maybe just in sort of closing out or finishing up before we open the floor to questions. Alisu, how do you see the property valuation industry evolving in the future? Evolving.
Yeah. I think so I think technology is going to play a bigger part, hopefully, and make our lives easier and bring in efficiencies. So and I think possibly as it becomes more the norm and certain software gets adopted more, I think hopefully the price then evens out.
Yes.
I don't know, but yeah, so maybe it'll have that benefit. But I think it's gonna allow us. There's gonna possibly be, less kind of. I think it'll improve the data analysis and our forecasting then in terms of, which will then improve our cash flows and the accuracy of our cash flows, I think. Once we've got that, but I think that'll take time. I don't think it's going to necessarily be overnight. But yeah, staying abreast with technology is important, and I think I don't think necessarily everything will be relevant, but I think we can pick and choose what works for us, and hopefully it brings some efficiency and otherwise I think we stick to our normal traditional principles of valuation.
We just hope that, as you say, that the technological advances will make our jobs a bit easier, like PropTech. So something to look forward to. Yeah. Monique, what role do you think women will play in changing or shaping the future of the profession?
Well, Di, I think the future is already with us in the sense of, if I just look at you as president of the SAIV, Motlatso, the Valuer General, Roshni Naidu is at SAC PVP, all women in these structuring roles. So yes, I don't think we need to wait for the future. We have arrived as women. So let us congratulate ourselves and you all, for the lead you are giving here, the inspiration to our younger people. That yes, we don't have to wait. The road has been paved for us all to do our bit and educate ourselves and to just show up and do those valuations.
Yep. And so say all of us. Well done, ladies. I would like to open the floor to questions from the attendees. If you have any questions you would like to ask one of our panel members, I'm not sure if we can put hands up and mics off to ask the question, or whether we need to have them Portia. Portia, I don't know that we can unmute you. Would you like to pop your question into the chat? Sorry. Amanda, you too. If you wouldn't mind just typing your questions in the chat.
There is a question in the chat from Zibuyile. Can you see it?
No, sorry.
Not. Okay. I'll just quickly read it out. She was asking, how do single mothers manage the 1 week of traveling when you have kids to take to school?
That is a challenge. Ali Sue, can you answer that?
I'm not a single mother, but so I'm fortunate that I have a support structure in that my family are on call, and I've got a husband that doesn't travel any longer. But it's I find that I break up my trips because my eldest son doesn't deal with the traveling very well. So I'd rather do an in-out trip, and rather than being away and upsetting they're tears, and it's
Yeah. I think one has to cultivate a support structure. If you're a single mum, you need to, perhaps with a friend or two that you can rely on, who can help you out there. It's a difficult one. I do agree. I'm not sure what the answer is. Didn't you take your kids with you, Monique?
No, but I also had a support structure, in terms of family. So it wasn't really an issue.
I think I told you about when I took my son with me on inspections, but that was the shopping centres. So yeah,
that was fun. Yeah, but I think what's important is if you've got a mother who can assist you, a good friend. I know that when I was younger and going through a divorce, my friends were very important because we would have a lift club. They would drop off in the morning, I would fetch in the afternoon, and try and share that responsibility. It does take a lot of creativity and a lot of goodwill from people in your circle, but yeah, it can be done. Okay, Janelle, Portia, as a candidate valuer looking for work experience, it's difficult because the advertised vacancies always want candidates with a minimum of 2 years practical valuation experience. Is there a way that gap can be closed somehow, where new candidate valuers with no experience can be given an opportunity? Pearl? Okay, the important thing to remember is we as an institute run a mentorship program which allows you to gain that practical experience. And a side benefit has been that we often get companies asking us to recommend candidates for employment. So if you're part of the mentorship program working with us and we know who you are, we can put your name forward in those situations. I know it is difficult, and it was one of the biggest constraints to candidates who've completed their studies actually getting to become registered with SAC PBP. So this is why we started this, and if you're interested, please contact our general manager's office and find out when the next intake will be. Sorry, I'm trying to just see what extra measures can you implement to ensure safety for women doing inspections. You know, I think one has to just be sensible. A few years ago, I was in one of the townships valuing property for Sanral, and I heard this lady calling, "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me." And I looked up and she was running towards me and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm a valuer and I'm valuing these properties." And she said, "Oh, are you a surveyor?" And I thought, well, she understands what a surveyor is. So I just said yes. She said, you can't be here. It's not safe. And I mean, it was broad daylight, busy as anything. And she got one of the local community members to stay with me and make sure I got back to my car safely, so that, you know, my camera and my GPS and everything wasn't sort of taken from me. I think we have to be sensible in how we do things. I mean, that opened my eyes to the potential of certain areas not always being safe. But yeah, I don't go sort of when it's dark or when it's dusk or, you know, sort of getting dark. I don't go on Friday afternoons to certain areas because the drinking starts at lunchtime. So yeah, I don't know. I think you just have to, I think we are blessed with with another seventh or sixth sense, a gut feeling. And I've encouraged my children to listen to that intuition. Often I've gone to do an inspection and something has just said to me, "Don't do it." And I've actually turned around and gone home and done it another day. So cultivate that intuition, listen to it. And if you're concerned, maybe ask a colleague to go with you, because there is a bit of safety in numbers. I don't know if any of you ladies would like to add to that.
Yes, it's actually very important to be vigilant and look at the safety. So what I usually do when I realize that many young valuers who are women are joining the profession and having to travel to remote areas in our environment was quite scary for me. So I would usually call just to make follow-ups, but also I encourage that a valuer's partner when they go on inspections, so that there is some kind of safety. But that doesn't mean by so doing you are fully secured from not being attacked and all that. But at least we have to ensure that we make sure that our valuers are safe out there, keep in touch. And if there's anything, I would always encourage that sometimes go to the police station and tell them that you are in the area and maybe you would need their assistance. Yes. So in that way, you are able to do your work. Thank you.
I've done that before. I also have a MobiClaw app on my phone where you hit the panic button and they will send whoever you need. If you don't respond to their call, they will send ambulance, SAP, Metro Police, whoever in the area to assist you. So we have to just be careful. Mandy has just said she's been hijacked and mugged. She carries pepper spray and a taser, and she's taken a short self-defense course. Well done, Mandy. Yes.
Yes. Yes. And also, just let someone know when you're going and when you'll be expected back. It's very important that people know where you are.
Exactly.
If you have to go by yourself.
Yeah. Amanda says if you need to go to an area that is dodgy, go early in the morning when the dodgy people are still asleep. I agree. While they're still sleeping off their hangovers, yeah. Sorry, Lorata, if you see anything else. Tando, at an SAIV and SAC PVP level, is it possible for our governing bodies to perhaps collaborate with valuers to start working on some kind of framework for integrating ESG in our traditional valuations? The demand on valuers to have approaches in place from the listed sector is quickly growing. Yes, I think it's important. IBS is addressing this in the standards. Ali Sue, I don't know if you want to add to this with the Green Building Council.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else to add really, but I think at this stage it's just about disclosure. So I think at this stage we need to be inserting that into our reports. And I think once a benchmarking or an expected standard is required, then
Yes.
it will possibly have an effect on values and grading of buildings. But at this stage, it's just the disclosure that needs to be included. And yeah, the IVS, I think 2025 does include ESG commentary. So, but yeah, so I think we're still at very early stages in terms of ESG and yeah.
Yeah, I think we're only starting now to see trickling through with transactions, the impact of ESG on a building, but there's not sufficient yet, I think, for it to become a general valuation practice at this stage. Monique, I don't know if you've got any input there.
No, sorry, nothing from me.
Okay. But I do know that the University of Pretoria, together with the Green Building Council, have developed a tool that assists in assessing the benefit of ESG in a building. But yeah, I think that's IP, so we won't have easy access to that data at this stage. Any other questions? Do you use AI features in writing reports? You can. The problem with AI at this stage is that it's still learning. And if AI doesn't have the information, it makes it up. So you've got to be very careful when you're using it, and anything that it gives you, you've got to verify. Don't just accept it at face value. There was a very it was publicized where a judge's clerk was supposed to do some research, and they used AI, and it made up a whole lot of cases that were given to the judge, and when he tried to find them, they were non-existent. So you have to be very careful when it comes to relying on what is produced by ChatGPT or any other tool. We as valuers have to verify everything that we are told, whether it's by a person, the property owner, a third party, an agent, or a broker. So it's still your responsibility at the end of the day. We've done that. I don't know if there are any other questions.
There was one from Sanele.
Yes.
With regards to, us as a profession, that we will be replaced by AI.
Yes.
She has a concern, as she is thinking of changing professions.
I certainly wouldn't, Zanelli. Monique, what do you think?
I must say, at the end of the day, as we have discussed, the technology has made, the gathering of information a lot easier and more efficient. But I still think at the end of the day that you need that sort of intellectual interpretation of the data that you have collected.
Yes.
And I don't see, how
machine
we will be
that.
replaced by a machine in that aspect. Yeah.
No.
And I also think there's really not enough valuers at this stage, in South Africa. So I for one would really recommend that you make the change. There's still lots of years of valuing left for you.
Yeah, I would suggest that you don't change careers, but that you do embrace that technology to make your reporting, your output more professional.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there are any other questions. Just quickly going through Lorata. I don't know if you've seen anything else that we need to respond to.
Deduzo asked, in terms of furthering studies, would you advise one to go for masters in valuation? I think you spoke about MBA, but not masters in valuation.
Very much so. I think that it can only benefit you at the end of the day. That's my personal opinion. Monique, I'm sure you would also recommend that.
Yeah, you can't go into lecturing without a master's,
Yes.
so especially if you think in going that route, that will be highly recommended. And also in terms of further studies, I would also recommend, even if you just do the short courses, in terms of, say, interpretation of financial statement, especially in terms of furthering your career, that you get more comfortable and self-assured with regards to those the financial side of valuations. I would very much recommend that. And I see that Annelien Sam also said that it is quite a challenge with our universities, not having online courses anymore, as for the rest of the students that's far from these universities. So Dianne, perhaps that is also something that you can take up, for the future. I think it has changed after COVID, that they took the online courses off. But perhaps they can revisit that.
So we as an institute had our first cohort doing a real estate market analysis course developed by Professor Sam Azasu. He was at Wits University until a couple of years ago. It's fully online. I did it myself. I can highly recommend it.
Okay.
I think it would benefit valuers in every sphere of property valuation. It started with residential. There's a bonus module that we're going to get on commercial and industrial. So yeah, I mean, and we're looking to try and develop more of these courses, and they will all be online. So watch this space, people.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. And then just for the commercial property valuers, I agree 100%. You cannot value commercial property if you can't read a balance sheet and financial statements and understand exactly what they mean. So, yeah. Oh, Joy, yes, I'll talk to you afterwards. So Christian says the need for valuers will reduce with about 50% or more. I'm not certain. I mean, you look at Lightstone. If you've looked at their reports and their comparables, they're not comparables. They throw everything in the vicinity, whether it's vacant land, improved res, commercial. So I think it's going to be a long time before they can actually replace us as valuers. So please don't change careers now.
Di Janelle wants to know if it's an accredited course that you spoke about.
Yes, it has. I'm not sure, Lerato, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It has how many CETs?
24.
24, yeah.
Yes.
So it's accredited by, yeah, by SAC PVP. We're looking at trying to get accreditation for the other built environment professions or from their councils, because it would apply to QSs, to property developers, to property practitioners even. So it's a very, very useful course. And as I say, with 24 CETs, that's half your cycle's points that you've got.
Okay.
What is your view on estate agents still advertising services with a free valuation? Okay, we discussed this exact same issue at our national executive meeting last night. We are planning to once again go to the PPRA and ask them to get their agent to cease and desist. The next step would be asking our registrar to also report these matters to her colleague at the PPRA. And if that doesn't work, then we're going to get the legal people involved. So hopefully we can put a stop to this practice. Okay, we are 29 minutes past 2. Just quickly, as a last round of comments from our panelists before we close. Joy, what tips do you have for any up-and-coming valuers?
Commit to lifelong learning. That's the biggest tip.
Yeah, and I can't agree more.
Yes, developing strong technical skills to gain deeper understanding of valuation methods, as well as become confident and comfortable with technology, because they go hand in hand. That's my tips for the up-and-coming young valuers. Thank you, Di.
Thanks, Joy. Motlatso, what would you add to that?
Okay, what I could add to that is that young valuers must have strategic perseverance. They must persevere. This is an environment that needs you to persevere so that you really truly understand your value as a professional. What we are seeing now, this trend, is that young valuers are jumping for money and they forget about experience. Money doesn't always equate to one being valuable. It is just a standardized measure of how much your services are worth and they are willing to pay for. But value, it's subjective and it's broader in that sense. It includes worth, capability, and competency, which will set you apart from other valuers. So you need to understand what you want to achieve. Do you want to achieve money? or you want to be valuable. So in that case, strategic perseverance is very, very important so that you are able to be offering the best of you in this profession. Thank you, Di.
Thanks, Motlatso. Ellie Sue, what is your view of the future and how do you see your role in it?
Keep slogging. No, hopefully, with technology, I think I'm hoping that we're going to become more efficient, and we're going to be able to benefit from that. I think with that said, I think as things become easier, we'll probably be able to do more volume and get allocated more buildings. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to improve your data analysis and being able to go through all your turnover, and it's going to give you that. So you're going to be, instead of, I think it's just going to improve that data analysis and your efficiency in that sense. And that's where I see. But otherwise, it's going to be the same old.
Work smarter, not, I say work smarter, not harder.
Work smarter, not harder. Yeah. That's what we need to keep focused on. But yeah.
I think that's what tech will allow us to do, possibly, yeah.
I think we're still very much going to be needed, though. I don't think they're going to do away with values. I don't think automated valuations are going to cut it. No.
No, I agree with you. Monique, how do you see the future?
Yes, I also agree with that, Alice Sue. Yes, if I just look at the past 20 years, I see the future is bright. And I'm excited for those of you that's, on the start of a career path in valuations or wherever you are in terms of that journey. At the end of the day, with what we have discussed here, I hope you've taken away that to educate yourself and to prepare yourself for this job to give the best possible report to your client. We are always, inquisitive about whatever is the value of whatever asset we have. Property is our biggest expense that we have. And so, yes, the value of that will just always be important for all the role players. So, if we can get an excellent product out there, we will always be in demand. So, all the best of luck to all of you.
Thank you so much, ladies. It's been a privilege to actually chat to you this afternoon. I hope that our attendees have enjoyed it as much as I have. Hearing your insights, sharing with us your journey. And I would like to just wish you everything of the best going forward. And hopefully we'll see much more of each other in the future. And thank you to our attendees. We really appreciate you joining us here this afternoon. Keep your eye out for Institute courses, functions, and let's hope we all learn some more together. Thank you.